And start a meeting, 7 p.m., October. 2024. And termination of quorum, everyone's here except Councilmember Tom Smith, and he's not here. So other than that, the rest of us are here. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with the additions, deletions, the adoption of the agenda, I guess we should go ahead and, since the agenda is as it is, we're gonna add to the agenda Classica Homes for presentation and Keystone Homes. That will be under 9, A, B, and C. So Empire is A. Okay. Are there any other additions or anything added to the agenda, you guys? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
As amended, so moved.
Okay. Chris, everybody else?
All in favor?
That's okay. So it's unanimous to adopt the agenda. Okay. Mayor and council member reports. Well, let's do the conflict of interest statement first. In accordance with state law, it is the duty of every council member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any council member have any known conflict of interest with respect to any matter or matters on the agenda? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any participation in the matter involved. Conflicts? Nope, no conflicts. Okay. Mayor and council reports. Darcy, would you like to go first?
Sure. Next Trees Union meeting is September 10th at 7:00 p.m. Wesley Chapel. Town Hall, I think it's right.
Village Hall.
Village Hall.
I have none.
You have that? Okay. You're finished?
Mhm.
The only thing I've got, we did not have a July meeting for the Western Union Municipal Alliance. The next meeting will be August 22nd in Mineral Springs, and it starts at 4:00.
Okay. Good. All right. Public comments or public, public comments. This is a separate public comment.
I just had one statement about what's the name of the development? Polivka. And the fact that I believe one of our planning board members in the past had to recuse herself when she was on the town council per the developer's request. And so I just wanted to make sure that as a planning board member that, you know, just ethically that she would have to recuse herself from, for same reasons, so.
Okay. I don't
Yes.
have the sheet. Is there anyone else, Debbie?
Double check that it's just.
Okay. Okay. Barbara? Schlick? Come on up. Thanks for coming. Yeah, and you just go to the mic there.
I just came to kind of just check out the meeting and learn a little bit more about what you guys are going to be doing and talking about. And we're behind the new Weddington Glen subdivision. So we've had our share of issues, so just wanted to get involved with the community and kind of see what's going on.
Okay, great. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. And that's all the public comments at that point, at this point. Okay. Public safety, Deputy Wren.
Mayor, council, thank you for having me. So looking at the month of July compared to the month of June, 911 hangups did increase from 37 to 56. Accidents did increase as well from 19 to 25. Assaults did increase by 1. Business checks did continue to rise from 25 to 56. Domestic disturbances maintained an equal number of 7. Fault investigations did go up. We want to try to close out all of our cases as soon as possible, from 14 to 18. Preventive patrols, we really tried to step up in the neighborhoods, went from 390, we stepped it up to 536, especially at night, that was our requests. Traffic stops went from 104 to 133. So from the month of June, we had 872 total calls for service to include self-initiated activity from the deputies. And it went from 872 to 1,098. Thank you.
Deputy Wren, quick couple questions for you.
Sir?
Just small questions. You know the signs that you see, well, the digital speed check signs, sometimes you'll see when you're going into a different speed zone, whatever. Do you know if those are effective? Do they grab people's attention? Do they make them slow down? Say you're going from 45 into a 35, you see the things flashing at you and it says, you're going 70. Are those effective? Are they effective in slowing people down? Are they worse than mine?
Effective as far as we worked hand in hand with the contracted deputies in the town or village of Marvin. They've included some within their municipality. I can reach out to them and get a definite answer, but as far as without relying on specifics for the town of Weddington, I'm going to remain Switzerland as neutral as possible as far as that goes. Until they're duly erected by the state, or if it's a town's road, then we can probably look at numbers from there. As far as giving opinions, I'm going to have to stay away from that one, only just because whenever I talk to the Marvin deputies, their differences compared to the town of Marvin.
If you could let us know.
Absolutely.
At some point, how you feel or how they feel about it. Then.
Sure, absolutely.
That'd be cool. One other question. I see some signs, speed signs where trees have grown in front of them, especially down 16, coming down and coming up. Whose responsibility is that? Is that the state? Is that the town to keep those limbs, hiding the signs?
Great question. Whenever you pay your taxes, you want answers and you want results, and I can respect that. To an extent, to a certain number of feet off of a state-maintained road to include a fog line or what's going to be considered the white line, the state is required to maintain a certain percentage off of that. If the sign is maintained and provided by the state, then it is going to fall on the state. With that also being said, you kind of got a little bit of a weather here lately. I don't know if anybody's seen any flooding or anything of that nature, but we did have a time with that. With that being said, DOT is overwhelmed. DOT is going through a time. So I can put in a lot of requests, put in a lot of requisitional orders for tree trimming and bushes. As far as that being on the top of their totem pole, I can't guarantee anything, but I will continue to put them in.
Okay. Yeah, because I know someone have, grown over, and I know you guys are doing a great job of slowing people down as, people go flying through and I didn't see that sign, there's no sign there, and so,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, okay, cool, thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, item 9, public presentation, and we'll start with Empire. So come on up, guys, appreciate you being here.
Frank's pulling up the PowerPoint. We do appreciate your time this evening for us to give an informal overview of our development project here. My name is Eddie Moore with McAdams. We are a land development design firm. I, along with Randy Goddard of Design Resource Group, we are assisting Mike Shea and the Empire Communities team on this project. And from here, we're gonna hand it off to Mike. He's gonna give you some background information on Empire, and then I'll go into the site and hand it off to me.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We're formerly Shea Homes, and family-owned company, been in the area. Right now would be our 30th year. We sold due to some partners having health issues in 2021 to Empire, who's a Canadian brand, but yet also family-owned and operated. And my brother and I are partners in this endeavor. And we still pretty much operate as Shea Homes. We have all the same product, all the same designs. We've built Atherton right down the road, Oldenburg and Marvin, Blackstone down here in Wesley Chapel, Hollister, also on Lester Davis in here on 84. Our brand suits this area really well. Our customers like big lots. The neighborhood we're proposing are 40,000 plus square foot lots, traditional septic. Most of our buyers appreciate the additional acreage. We try to leave them as many trees as possible. We are proposing traditional septic here. There's no sewer.
What's your definition of traditional septic in this house?
Each house would have a residential septic system. We try to upgrade the systems to make them a little bit smaller to enable the customer or homeowner to have more usable yard, but they would all be separate systems for each.
So you're saying the
individual.
engineered systems, not the conventional systems that most of Weddington has.
No, these,
They would be conventional systems.
They're conventional, they're not the engineered type with the slow drip, 6 to 8 inches of.
yeah, they're far more modern than the conventional systems. This is actually, we're knee deep in septic studies right now, and this is a really complicated soil matter over here. So we're having to put complicated systems in, is what we're faced with right now that are super expensive. But that's kind of new. That's, I don't know if I answered your question.
Somewhat, it sounds like you're leaning, it's still the engineered system with the 3 tanks with it, the slow drip pressure.
It's a 50% reduced system, a panelized system is what they call it. We've put them in all our high-end communities that we've done this before, in Davidson and Anniston, and we've never had any sort of warranty call ever on the septic systems. And we use the same contractor who's actually stationed here in Renton.
I know those require a separate maintenance or like a monthly maintenance schedule,
Right.
That kind of thing.
Correct.
And I know we've had some other, proposals for that kind of thing too. And I can't speak for the council, but speaking for myself, there's a little hesitancy for that type of system. I think the comfort level is more the traditional, conventional septic that, that's in Weddington, not the high-tech engineered type system.
Yeah.
That would be my preference.
Sure.
And I think that would buy you a lot more support.
It's the same traditional system. It's just been used to condense it a little more than the old systems where the lines were like 8 feet apart.
Carry on, but I think the more traditional, conventional, not the traditional, what you're saying as far as, engineered, but the more conventional of what Weddington with the lines and not the slow drip, pressurized, we get the 3 tanks and that kind of thing, where it's pressurized. I would just encourage you guys to look at conventional.
Sure.
Because we have a little bit of a hesitancy right now to go in that direction of what you're proposing.
Sure. I mean, I think what we're doing is is really an old conventional system that's just been used to try, modified maybe to try to not take up as much area, so that when you do 120 by 380 on their yards, they have more room for pool and that sort of thing.
Right.
In our experience at Atherton is we built a beautiful rec facility, but nobody uses it because everybody wants to put in their own personal pool.
Right. No, and I think these engineered systems are used more where the land is perked and having soil problems. And I think that's why.
No, we're trying to get the land to perk. We're all about getting the land to perk. That's, I mean, we've been studying it immensely. And traditional repair systems that perk as well.
Okay. And we would need to know each lot does perk, as opposed to passing something that's like, oh.
No, that's what, yeah, we're in the middle of going through that right now. Last week slowed us down quite a bit.
So you'll have a study that says each lot does perk.
Yes, sir.
Conventional or engineered?
Is it-
I'm hanging up. hung
I'm
up
pretty
on
certain
that.
it's conventional, but we can get our septic contractor to write a letter to the effect.
So, I just encourage you guys to go that route.
Absolutely.
You'll have a hard time doing any of them.
Sure, no problem.
But anyway, but continue, I'm sorry.
Sure. Let me see here. Okay,
Yeah, I'll go to the site slides. Greg, not going back a few slides prior. You can keep going back to the beginning if you don't mind. There we go. Okay, the site is just shy of 62 acres. It's located to the south of where we're located here along Weddington Road and Providence Road. Next slide. The site's zoned RCD in R40. As part of the proposal, we're not looking to rezone the underlying zoning, just go through the conditional process that is required. Next slide. In looking at the newly adopted comprehensive plan, a vast majority of the site is recommended for agricultural land uses. You can kind of see it's green, but there's a little bit of traditional residential. One thing that the comp plan does recommend is that we do follow the comp plan when it comes to future land use. And one thing to point out is that there's a maximum density that's recommended of one dwelling unit for 1.5 acres. And we're proposing 34 lots. If we take the acreage and divide that by 1.5 acres, it comes out to 41 lots, so we're less than the maximum recommendation from the comp plan. The proposed density is 0.55 homes to the acre, so it's very rural character, low density residential, and lot sizes they range north of 40,000 to over 55,000 square feet. Next slide. Apologies. So with the conditional process, we will be limited to 34, the average lot, 34 single-family lots. The average lot size is about 45,000 square feet. 10% of the site will be set aside for open space, and with the tree preservation and the open space, it comes out to close to 20% of the site. We do have 2 entrances that are proposed, one along Providence, one along Wellington. And we do have the layout where we can offer connectivity to the north and to the south of the parcel, should those parcels do come online in the future. Next slide. So here's just the kind of rendered site plan. So we do have in the upper right, that is Weddington Road. We do have an entrance that is opposite the entrance to Atherton. Along that frontage, we're proposing a 100-foot thoroughfare buffer. You kind of see how the lots, the 34 lots, are laid out throughout the site. In the middle, in the blue line, there is a stream that runs through the site. We do have a 100-foot stream buffer on both sides, so a total of 200 feet. Along Providence Road, opposite Lenny Stadler Way, We were connecting at that point where the existing traffic light is located. And along that frontage, we'll also have a 100-foot thoroughfare buffer. And as you can see, there are opportunities, looking at the aerial to preserve existing trees throughout. Next slide. This is the actual site plan that kind of gives you a good indication of where the lot lines will be in relation to the other features to the site. Next slide. And here was supposed to be a video that was taken from Atherton. Do not have that to show you, but what I did want to say throughout that, the rural field, what we're proposing are streets with pitch line streets, no curb and gutter, very similar to what is inside Atherton. And the area will really give a good showing of the size of the lots, the areas that we can preserve tree safe. That's
Yeah, that was a screenshot of it, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you click it, if it's the PDF, it'll run through. Next slide, please. So some architectural inspiration. The exterior of the buildings, they'll be primarily brick and stone. Here you see a lot of differing building articulation from the facade and varying roof pitches. Next slide. Kind of continue with the same theme. All garages will be side-loaded garages with an opportunity for a carriage garage to attach to the back, but along the back of the property, back of the house itself, not in the front. Next slide. Here's another example. Next slide. Here we're going to hand this off to Randy Goddard, Design Resource Group, and he's going to give you some ideas of, or give you some information on proposed improvements into the site and also area of transportation.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm Randy Goddard with Design Resource Group. We're with the Empire team working with them. We've also had numerous discussions with NCDOT, so I want to pass on some information. What you've got here is that kind of conceptual site plan within the trip generation. So again, the site fairly small for the number of homes, expected to generate the 29 in the morning and then the 36 trips in the afternoon. So as far as planned roadway improvements, the access on Providence Road, we're lining up with Lenny Stadler where the traffic signal is. And with that, we're going to have a southbound left turn lane that's going to come out of the median. That's going to be opposite the northbound left turn lane. In addition to that, we are adding a northbound right turn lane on Providence Road. Those are all typical requirements of NCDOT. We're aligning with the signal. That would be a signal agreement for that connection opposite Lenny Stadler. Lenny Stadler then would probably be remarked because right now you got a left and a right. What we're thinking is it's a left and then a through right combination lane would be on that approach. So you would have the through lining up with the entrance to the subdivision. As far as the other connection at opposite Atherton, the same thing. We'll have a southbound turn lane, southbound right, and then a northbound left. Just like it'll be exactly opposite what already there right now. So you'll have Weddington Road widened at that location. Next slide. So I just want a little bit of context here is that in white is the site as it relates to Providence and Weddington. And from there, you can also see what we've got is the NCDOT project for Ray Road Extension. Just to kind of give you an idea as, we've got the connection between Providence and Weddington that ultimately, anyone that's thinking about there might be some pass-through traffic is going to end up using the NCDOT roadway with Ray Road Extension. So that's STIP U3467. It's supposed to start construction in 2028. It's probably 2 to 3 year project depending on the timing. So again, just kind of wanted to show that relationship of the site to the overall roadway project. And if I go to the next slide.
Quick question, Mike, in the slide. If passed, how long out do you anticipate starting the project if this were approved?
As soon as we could.
talking about year, 2 years? So I'm thinking about that road, railroad extension, and coordinating that.
I'm guessing it would be before the first home was for sale, would be probably 2026.
Yeah, first homes would be on sale in 2026.
2026.
But we would like to be sold out by the time the project is complete.
Okay. What project? You talking about railroad extension?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this here is a blow up of the plan for NCDOT. So this is the Ray Road extension and the Providence Road intersection. So lining up with existing Ray Road signalized intersections, you can see it widens out. So we got a considerable number of lanes there. And then if we go to the next slide, is really just showing the other end where Weddington will tee in to Ray Road extension. So that's the other side of it. That's going to be a signalized intersection. So that shows you both ends of that railroad extension project as it relates again in kind of relationship to this site. And that's all I have. Back to Miles.
Okay. Quick question, I know you guys have mentioned the 100-foot buffer around, and I appreciate you guys doing that. As you know, this is a very visible area of land that you guys are proposing for. I would like to propose, which I've mentioned to you before, a very nice, on both entrances, a very nice upscale entrance, for the character of Weddington, in a nice landscaping package proposal for that. Because I think it needs to keep in the character of Weddington and the quality and value that we're trying to portray and keep here in town. So I would, suggest something like that. Again, a nice upscale
Sure.
entrance with nice.
No, we absolutely share the same sentiment, for sure. We want to push pricing out here and build a really sharp, wonderful community that everybody can be proud of.
What, speaking of pricing, what size home, and may I ask, what price point area are you looking at?
Generally, our customers, the homes that sold in Atherton were predominantly 5-bedroom, about 5,000 square feet, 3 and 4 car garage. We see the same buyer being represented here. Recent resales in Atherton have gone as high as 1.8 to 2 million. So, we certainly, we're a margin driven outfit where we will look at each home in each lot and price it to, to where we feel we could, push market as best as possible.
Where you feel that is.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me to have homes from 1.6 to 2 million at all.
Okay.
Our intention is to try to buffer the road as much as possible.
Mhm.
We have not gotten into our design of our front entries. Those engineering documents come a little later in the process. But we have an extremely large amount of money put into both entrances to try to really make a statement there. And also, buffer these high volume roads from these folks that are going to live there
Right.
all the time.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a tightrope.
Right.
But we feel it's achievable.
Okay, one last question. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
This little section here, it's like 3 areas, it's like 5 or 6 acres. Just curious, why didn't you guys sort of try to purchase that, or maybe you did? What's the story on that? You want
We
to talk about?
looked at it. The way that detention pond is put right there, and the way that road would come through kind of bisects those lots almost entirely. I don't believe that they would be real desirable. I forget what else we may have looked at when we looked at the 3 parcels on the right side of your stove.
Oh, the 3 on the sides.
Right.
It would kind of just be an extension of that street, and then we also, Mr. Mayor, you're talking about the property to the north?
The right side.
Right in
Yes.
here.
Okay.
For what folks are asking for property around here, the lots need to be highly desirable. And I guess the frank answer is the way that road would come in, I don't think I could create real desirable lots.
Okay, so you did look at it? and-
We certainly did, we evaluated that and the property to the left up
Okay.
there as well.
Because it definitely creates a pinch point as you move away from those. You go to the right, it creates a more narrow area, and it'd be difficult to get a road and then the lots
Gotcha.
to meet the minimum requirement.
Okay. Darcy, I think you had.
Yeah, so we're in the process of rewording some of the UDO, and one was buildable acres, so where are we with that? Has that been executed yet?
So there's an 11-step kind of process for conditional zoning. The most visible one is the community meeting. What we're doing right now is a brand new code revision where they present to council. Our goal is to have positive feedback and frankly changes to the layout based on these meetings. And so staff, one of the later steps is actually a staff report and presenting to the planning board. I'm not going to review it for 1,000% accuracy because I'm assuming that changes will be made based on, say, tonight. And then I'll review that document for completeness and for a staff report.
So with that being said, of the 62 acres or what it was, how many are buildable? Because I know there's a creek that runs through there. I know there's some not buildable space. So do you know how many are buildable?
I think other than the creek, it's all high ground.
Yeah.
Other than the creek, it's all buildable.
So more than 34 acres are buildable.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't want to put a guess to it.
And we just don't know if all 34 lots perk yet, which would be the other question.
Yes, we're in the midst of studying that right now. It's actually so thick out there, they want to get a FECON machine so they can figure out where the lot lines are.
Jeff?
My question's already been asked.
Okay,
All covered stuff, I wasn't finished.
okay. Great.
Likewise.
Okay. And I'll just repeat again, I encourage you guys to look at, remember what I said about the sewer.
Yeah, the septic systems, yes, sir, yes, sir.
And that's, I
I'm
mean,
certain we're miscommunicating, but saying the same thing.
well,
I will dig deep on that and let you
yeah,
know.
I'm not sure if we are miscommunicating or not. It sounds like you're describing an engineered type system versus the more traditional with the longer trunk lines and deeper, deeper trunk lines.
Mhm.
It sounds like you're describing, again, something that's sort of fairly new in use. And so, anyway, I've already covered that, so I just highly encourage you guys to look.
Sure, we'll look into it, absolutely.
No more questions, guys?
Thanks so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you guys so much,
I appreciate
appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right, so we'll have public comments for these guys, so for Empire, I don't have a sign-up sheet for that. Just raise your hands and go for that like that, okay? So just raise your hands or come up to the mic, and that would be even better if you would, so we can, everybody can hear what you, Chad, would you come up?
I just wanted to say, I think Shea Empire offers a good product, and I appreciate the 100-foot buffer and even the 50-foot buffer around the perimeter of it, and the stream buffer, because I live downstream of that stream that impacts where we live. So as much protection as can be offered to that stream, we greatly appreciate it. Our only concern is just making sure it's not a, like you were saying, Jim, as far as a type 5, class 5 engineered septic, that it could be conventional.
Okay, thank you, Chad. Anyone else?
I was just going to say that, in 2022, there was,
Could you come up so we can all hear you?
I would rather just sit, if that's okay.
Okay, just speak loud.
It doesn't
so we can
pick up on
Okay,
it. It doesn't,
in 2020
Melissa, it doesn't pick up on the,
On the screen, yeah, if you would.
In 2022, there was a waterside report by former Public Works Director, Ed Gasecki, and he was on the planning board. And he was doing a report, I guess, on sewer for Weddington Green. In his report, he says that the land would not be suitable for on-lot septic systems. So we have a question if the soil is going to work for conventional septic. And the question of the 5 acres over there, we have a question, did the developer contact the owner and actually ask them about the land and try to work a deal, or did they just determine that they weren't going to do the lots?
You guys want to address that?
Yeah, our broker, Benny Arell, did bring those, sites to us, but, we decided they weren't feasible for the development.
So just repeat that, you looked into it and decided they weren't useful, the parcels were not useful, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, and
Our concern is that 5 acres will just sit there, just very vulnerable for commercial development. And we would like to see if the developer is open to looking at those lots again and making that part of the neighborhood, so that piece of land just does not sit there very vulnerable for commercial development. Seemed like I had one more question, hold on just a second. I think they have a nice product. And we just want to make sure that we're not proposing some type of engineered system, that it is conventional septic system. And especially that nothing is on like a contracted third-party operator type of setup or septic. It's the same as engineered. We've got a viewpoint from several different developers. I think the town is going to need to talk about that and determine for yourself what you want to do.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question I forgot to ask. Are these houses proposed slab or crawl space?
What was the question?
Slab or crawl space?
Oh, they will be crawls.
They're crawl space?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any more questions? Comments? Kim, can you come up?
Well, this is, okay.
We need to hear you for screaming for our folks who are watching.
Just wanted to make a comment, just a positive comment, that we've gone to a lot of meetings lately. And I just appreciate the professionalism that it just looks like you put time and effort. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and I agree. It does look like a nice product. I would second the sewage because I do think that we have to be careful with what we're setting precedent for. But yes, thank you for taking the time to put together a nice professional.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? No? All right, so we'll move on if there's no one else. So, Glasgow. You guys go.
Mayor, Larry Burton with Classic Homes, thank you for getting us back on the agenda. It's greatly appreciated. Y'all should have our PDFs for the presentation, and if you don't, we certainly have boards for that conversation. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian Hall.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, appreciate it. Council, thank you. I'm Brian Hall with Classic Homes. I'm Vice President. We are a small local builder out of Charlotte. We have 36 employees that work at Classic Homes. We've been around since 2010 is when we started our company. We built about 800 homes in Charlotte, North Carolina, and around the surrounding area. Recently, we have built 2 homes off of Antioch Church Road in Weddington. I want to, again, thank you for your time. I want to turn it over to Larry Burton. I've got Mark Hine, who's our engineer, and Bo Shims on our land team, as well as Jessica Lungs. Thank you. So we are proposing 9 homes on 12 acres on Forest Lawn Drive. It's probably a mile north of the Forest Lawn Cemetery. These will be minimum 40,000 square foot lots. We have a 100-foot thoroughfare buffer on the property,
And these also will be engineered septics, and we have done very, very thorough soil studies. It's a type of system we do for every single one of our homes that we build regardless. And we've also brought our contractor that does all of our septic studies and also installations, so we can answer additional questions. If you've got any particular questions from an engineering standpoint, Mark Kimes can be able to help answer those.
Yeah, I just, it's a fairly new product. And I'm starting to hear rumors already of problems with that system. Mostly, from what I understand, they've been used as sort of one-offs, one, two, here, like the ones on Church Road. I've heard recently that the state of Virginia has put like a 5-month moratorium on use of these products because they're having issues with it. And so I understand too, and again, I need to do a little bit more detailed work, but I'm hearing that there's actually a neighborhood in our homes in Mint Hill. They're gearing up to do a class action lawsuit against the system with the installers and against our homes. So, and I've heard of other problems with it also. I'm just really, leery of it. I know, I'm just going to ramble here for a second, but with a drip system that's 6 to 8 inches in the soil, with the rain that we've had here lately and with the storms that we've had, if let's just say, most people use these systems when the lights don't work, and it's like a last resort way of making something work. And if it doesn't work to start with, and the reason you can't, the soil's not conducive, then in my mind, I see this clay that, when the water goes down, it just sits there, it won't absorb into the clay soil. And now you have yards that are mushy, large rains, washes it into the neighbor's yard. There's a whole slew of problems I see with these systems. The odor that comes with it for the neighbors, and plus yourself. I'm really leery about that, and I would highly, like I said earlier, suggest you guys really look at the conventional, true conventional, not conventional as in engineered, but conventional with deeper, longer trunk lines.
Mayor, would it be beneficial to have our contractor answer specific questions?
Definitely, love to hear.
I feel like I'm walking into a hornet's nest. But I'll try and educate everyone in here. Okay, my name's Sal Vicari. I own Alternative Septic Services. I've been doing engineered septic systems since 2005. These systems are not new. They've been around since the early 80s. And one of the things you're talking about, a conventional system only works if you have good soils, okay? The other thing is a conventional system only cleans the effluent, which is the water that goes into the drain field. Just so everyone knows that septic system, there's a tank that captures all the solids, and then the effluent, which is the dirty water, is what goes into the drain field. Typically, the filter is the dirt. And if you have good soils, the water slowly goes through, and by the time it gets to the water table, it's supposed to be clean. All right? That's with a conventional system. And when the effluent that goes into a conventional drain field is about 40% clean. Okay, so it's not as clean as you think it is. On an engineered system, what we do is we pre-treat the effluent so that it's almost back to drinking water before it goes into the drain field. So there's a huge difference. And the reason we're able to do that, if the soils aren't as good, they wouldn't be able to filter. So if you pre-treat it, then the water's already clean before it goes into the ground.
What are they pre-treating with?
So we use an aerobic treatment. And what that means is all of the systems are hooked to a compressor. And that compressor pushes oxygen into the effluent, which is the dirty water. And that causes the microorganisms to eat like 10,000 times faster. And in 24 hours, it's almost back to drinking water. What it does is there's suspended solids in the water that you can't see, and those microorganisms eat those solids. The only thing is it's got a little more nitrogen than normal, but that's just typical.
And if you lose power, it shuts down. Because it's pressurized, it's got, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, but normally if a subdivision is on, I don't know if this is well or city water.
It's public.
It's public water, okay. So yes, it would turn off, but there's enough retention time in the systems that if the system does turn off, it's just going to get retained into the tank. So a conventional system, you flush the toilet, that amount of water goes out to the drain field because the tank's full all the time. So that's the way it works. They all work on retention. In an engineered system, what we do is we dose the drain field. So it might turn on 8 minutes every 2 hours. And in that time, we're getting rid of 40 gallons, 50 gallons, whatever it is, depending on the size of the house. And then it has an hour and 50 minutes to absorb into the ground. And then the computer tells it turn on again every 2 hours. If there's not enough water in the system, then it'll just retain it until the next dose.
So I would assume that you have to be very careful about how much you put down it, because if you have a 5-bedroom house, several kids, everybody can't take showers at the same time. You've got to be very careful and strategic about how you use it, so you don't overload it. And secondly, if it's maxed out, we have a bad storm, and now it's just, you lose power for 2 or 3 days, you got to go stay someplace else, because that's not going anywhere. It's coming back to your house.
So I would submit to you that a conventional system works exactly the same way. Everything is designed on gallons per day per bedroom, okay? A 5-bedroom house, for instance, is 600 gallons a day. I guarantee you, if you're to pull water bills from everyone, a 5-bedroom house never uses more than about 250, maybe 300 if it's got a bunch of people in the house. So there's a cushion right there of almost 50%. And then when you add in the dosing that you do, that changes the whole thing too.
I hear you.
Another thing I want to say, because you got to be careful. I did the subdivision for Lennar in Arlington, okay? We are not being sued. I called Lennar up and I said, hey, I heard that the mayor is saying that we're being sued for this subdivision.
Well, that didn't help.
Okay, well, it's not true.
It's
Also-
in the works of a class action suit, but go ahead.
Also, I work in South Carolina and Virginia. There is no moratorium in Virginia on these systems. I have 3 soil scientists that work for me, 3 engineers that work for me. So we do all the soils work up front, the engineering, we install the systems, and we maintain the systems. All engineered systems by law in North Carolina have to be on a maintenance system. If you're not on a maintenance program, the state will come in and condemn your home. So
What's your monthly maintenance cost?
we only charge $300 a year. So it's a yearly fee. I've heard of some company, the most expensive one I've heard of is $800 a year.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in between that. We only charge $300 a year. We come out once every 4 months for the first year, and then every 6 months after that, which is required by the state.
If I can add to that, 2 things. One, I actually have one of these systems in my own home in Mooresville. 2, the maintenance, I would make an argument, all septic systems, including a conventional, which is defined as pipe and stone, needs maintenance, okay? When you don't maintain your septic system, I don't care what it is, you are going to have a problem with it down the road. the requirement for the state to say you have to maintain your system twice a year, make sure in a conventional, which doesn't have to be done, that tank does get pumped. I see a lot of tanks that over time, people move in, they don't know anything about it. One, they don't even know where the tank is at. A lot of times a conventional system has dirt over top the tank, so they don't even know where it's at. And that tank over time, if it does not get taken care of, if that thing doesn't get pumped out, which is what, about every 4 years, depending on use, then you could have problems where that system all of a sudden fails. So the maintenance side of the equation is something you need to do, period, not just with a pipe and stone type of a system.
I don't know if it takes as much maintenance as you're trained to on a conventional.
I guess.
I mean, I've had 25 years here in town, had that, and, you know, I think I've had it pumped out twice.
You should have a conventional system pumped out every 5 years, no matter what.
I hear 5%.
Yeah, it should be every 5 years. So if someone is only getting their system pumped out twice, they're not taking care of it.
Well, I hear, no, I disagree with you there, because people have come out and with the right enzymes and the right, bacteria, if it's working properly, if it's a functioning septic system, I disagree with you to a degree, because there are people in this country who never have it pumped out and have it, and it's a bactericide.
I can tell you that I've installed thousands of these systems. Of course, everyone would like to get a conventional system. It's the cheapest for the builders and the developers. That's the cheapest way to do it. Is it the best for the environment? No, absolutely not. It's not. Is it feasible in today's market? No, because all of the good land is gone. You guys are going to have to be more open-minded about land is just getting worse and worse. No, I'm serious. It's you can say that, but I'm speaking from experience and knowledge. I deal with engineers and soil scientists every day on this.
As you can probably tell, this is.
I said I was going to be in the hornet's
Within the
nest.
last few months, I guarantee you, a year ago, we were not having this detailed discussion on septic systems and piping, stone, and computers and everything else. But there are, I would say, some valid questions that have come up, because it is different.
It is different.
And I guess my question is and again, just listen to the previous presentation and your explanation, because yours is the most complete.
I know about their system.
I've heard so far about what one of these engineered systems is that it sounds like to me too that the installation of this thing, if it's not put in correctly, that can cause problems. I mean, it's not it sort of sounds like a more complex. I mean, I haven't seen the diagram or the schematic, but I understand from the explanation you just given about pre-treatment and the quality of water that's supposed to be coming out. And to the point about the traditional system, I've certainly got one in my home. Yes, about 10 years ago, we had an issue, but it got taken care of. So I understand those, can have issues too. But I think that understanding I don't want to call it life cycle, is not the right word, but once it gets put in, obviously this type of system, as you have stated, by law requires more maintenance, more monitoring. It's not the old system that we all grew up with.
Right.
And I personally want to learn a little bit more about that aspect of it, because I think that some concerns that I've heard expressed are, the homes get built, people move in, and then no offense, but the developer goes away, and then it's on the homeowners. And if homeowners start having issues, the phone's gonna ring here. Why did you approve this? Why was this allowed in if we're having problems with it? So I hope you understand some of the level of concern that's being expressed is that this is a new thing. We've like I said, I know what I grew up with and what I've got now. And this isn't it. This is something completely different. So, more explanation on the who's responsible for what, how much is it costing? You know, I've been told the county, the state, approve these systems. It's not the town council that approves septic
That's true.
processes and systems. We can certainly tell you our opinions on them.
Right.
But again, this is new ground, and that's why I hope.
Well, no, and that's why I came to answer any questions that you had and to try and educate people, because all it takes is one person saying something negative about it, and then it spreads like wildfire. And we have, our company, for instance, has 3 full-time maintenance people that we're constantly, that's all they do is maintain systems. And as far as having service calls, we don't do a lot of service calls where there's problems with the system because they are maintained so well.
If we wanted to get data on how many of these systems have been installed in North Carolina or in a region, maybe I could say it that way. Is there anybody that keeps track of?
Absolutely.
Problems with these systems?
North Carolina, believe it or not, is one of the best states for engineered septic systems. NC State and Waco, Texas are the 2 top schools for septic systems. So North Carolina also requires the most continuing education for all installers of any state. And one of the professors from NC State is actually one of my soil scientists. He's the top expert in the state.
So where would we go to get this type of data on how many systems are in use, how long have they been in use, what are the issues that statistically have come up, over what kind of timeline, what have the remedies been?
There's a man named David Berkowitz who's in charge of the whole state. He's the top guy.
What is his office?
He's in Raleigh, but it's deep up here. It's called Diener, right? It's a different. It's not DHEC, it's Diener. It's the department. Yeah. So if you call Diener, or you can also call NC State because they keep track of all of that. And anytime there's an experimental system, or it all goes through NC
What
State.
department? Engineering department there?
No, just soil science.
Soil science.
The Department of Soil Science.
So is it fair to say this land did not hurt? Is that why?
No, that's absolutely.
No.
So it could hurt?
Yes.
So you know
It does hurt.
That's not a system that we do for our homes. It's always been engineered system.
So the advantage
So it might
to
hurt.
Yes, the soils do perk.
the advantage to an engineered system, if the land does perk, is that the drain field is smaller. So either a developer can have a higher density, or the customer can use more of the area if they want a swimming pool or something like that.
And it requires less clearing. right?
Pardon?
It requires less clearing.
And yes, and it requires less clearing.
So I would think, like what you're saying, that if it does work, you're good with it,
Well, they don't build that, he said.
and you're getting a little pushback here, why not just go for conventional and say, hey, we hear you, and let's go, just
So-
normal conventional.
So only way conventional works all the time is it has to be a gravity system, right? So anytime let's just make sure we define conventional. A conventional system is pipe and gravel, gravity. That make sense?
Unless you have a pump up to a,
Correct, but one of your concerns I heard earlier was a pump system.
right, in fact, I have one in my
Yeah.
home, my
Yeah.
backyard up to my.
So you have to raise it uphill,
Right.
so you have power, so when you lose power, your pump don't work,
Correct, you're correct. But
right?
I have a certain capacity for
Sure.
it.
And this system does too, okay? The other thing I'll say about power is typically my home buyers at this price point put generators in. So they solve their own problem, right? The system Sal's talking about, the depth of the actual pipe that goes in the ground can vary depending on the soil condition. So it can go as low as 6 inches, but most of the time they're 18 to 20 inches in the ground. My personal house, I think, is at like 63 inches in the ground. It's crazy. But it just depends on the soil capacity and what's there. Again, the key here that we're trying to do is, to Jessica's point, we're really trying to preserve the forest in what goes in there. Any type of a conventional system, you have to clear every single tree. And that field can be anywhere from, 100 feet long to 40 feet wide. So I mean, that's just a whole grove of trees that comes out that never gets to grow back. This individual drip line system actually can be weaved into trees, and the big trees can be saved.
What is
Yeah.
the price point? You're trying to sell that?
For our
You mentioned
homes?
Price point, yes.
So our homes will start somewhere from 1.5 to 2.2 by the time this comes around.
Square foot.
Yeah, and the lots.
Lots are what, 40,000 square feet minimum, and our homes are somewhere between 3,500 and 6,000 feet.
You're done with me.
Mayor, would you like to see the slide?
Sure, I'd love to carry on.
No, they've got electronic.
Okay, okay.
Right. Introduce Jessica Lundgren.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thanks for being here.
Come on up.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So beautiful luxury high-end homes, again, just 9 homes. We certainly by capacity could have put additional homes there, but again, we want to preserve the land, be a good steward as a, Weddington resident as well. I know that you guys want to preserve the trees, have a nice high-end look, high-end beautiful entrance. We install beautiful homes of great variety of architecture, a lot of details on our exterior. We use all real materials, so it's all real stone, real party board with the board and batten, a great mix of materials, full brick, and just a really nice elevations. And so we would only allow one of each in a floor plan and exterior in a small community like this. We install extensive landscaping from the very beginning. We sod the backyard, which not a lot of builders do. A lot of builders are going to put seed and straw in the backyard. We do a really nice bush and tree package, and our homeowners customize that. They meet directly with our landscaper, who does an excellent job at customizing that layout for them.
What's the percentage of homes that are, I'll call it siding versus stone and brick?
If you look at any one of our communities, it's a mix. I mean, you'll see, I would say our brick homes are somewhere in the 30% range, or stucco and stone are probably another 35, and then the other combination would be mostly stone with siding to get that more framed look. It's really about a mixture of product, not just all one style, one look.
So you don't do just straight siding, you mix it in with stone? Or
Yeah, most of our homes, I mean, we have what we call a modern farm elevation, which you'll see on that bottom right. That's one we offer in our communities. We don't do the whole community of that look. It does have a mixture of product and homes in there. Again, one of our small neighborhoods, 10-lot neighborhoods that we have in Providence Retreat right now, again, to create that custom, authentic feel, we only allowed one elevation of that plan in there so that you didn't have that feel of, hey, my neighbor across the street has the same home. You just don't want to do that in a neighborhood of 10 at this kind of price point.
What's the total lot size? I can't find the acreage.
They-
I mean, not lot, the plot of land. How big is it?
Oh, it's 12.23 acres.
We're only building 60 to 80 homes a year, so there's a lot of care, time, and attention and skills that go into these homes.
And you mentioned earlier the 100-foot buffer. At the front,
That's
we're
right.
doing that with landscaping and a nice entrance.
Yeah, there's another slide. These are examples of entrances to some of our other neighborhoods. We're still in the very early stages, but this gives you an example of what we've done in recent neighborhoods.
Is this the one that is this the one that backs up to the high school? Oh,
It's the next one.
because people are.
Okay. Jeff or Brandon, does you have any questions?
No.
Mayor, in our conversations, you had questions about stormwater.
Yes, thank you.
So my name is Mark Heim. I'm a landscape architect with Civil and Environmental Consultants. The type of stormwater design that we're planning for this subdivision would be considered a low impact development system. So the state defines that any subdivision that has less than 24% impervious area. So we're not proposing stormwater detention pond of any kind. we are proposing a ditch section roadway throughout and then using engineered swales in between the lots to essentially diffuse the water and let natural infiltration take place of collecting it in one spot. So our actual proposed, if you include the pool itself, the pool deck for each lot, and the plan that we have submitted at this point actually shows probably the largest footprint the Classic proposed there. Obviously, they're going to change it out to different footprints. We're at about 17% at present. So we would have a traditional sediment basin during construction line silt fence, but the end product would then be to fill in that sediment basin and then use natural conveyance between the lots.
You know, our concern, and when we're out at the, we talked last,
Sure.
there was some, when we were down to school for the presentation down there, there's some residents, you know, wasn't concerned because that creek behind their floods, and they realized that.
Yeah.
But the concern was building anything that would add to the flooding and add to the problem that they have already. So we definitely don't want that to happen. We don't want to do anything that would negatively affect anybody that lives around there.
Right.
You know,
And as part of our construction plan and looking, and from that conversation, looking at the drainage area that's feeding that stream, we've got a 100-foot buffer, which really just encroaches into that open space in the property. But you have well over 100 acres that is really feeding what is probably the downstream flooding concern. What we're going to be doing as part of our low impact subdivision is showing that the pre and the post condition, the velocity of the runoff is not leaving the site at any velocity faster than currently is present. So currently from Forest Lawn Drive, that site is sloping in the southwest direction back towards that creek, and it's just sheet flowing. So what we're going to do is we're going to capture that water as it goes around each lot, comes off into the front yard and then swales in the back and then disperses and has a chance to infiltrate.
so you don't think you need a retention pond in the back, just something back there to grab water?
We really don't. When we get into the engineering and permitting process, our calculations will show that's what the system, that's what the state's going to hold us to in terms of design. If we can't prove that, then we would have to probably look at some sort of detention facility. But at present, that's the direction we would prefer to go. And we've done this on several other projects where we have, these lots are typically, they're about 120 feet wide, but they're 334 feet deep. So the idea is to preserve as much of that natural ground cover and trees and shrubs and everything else. It's going to really just almost work as a giant level spreader for the small amount of impervious water that's coming into the backside of those lots.
Gotcha. Okay. If approved, what's your timetable of starting and what's it look like for you guys?
It's gonna take 9 months, 12 months to get through all the permits and approval, and we would break ground immediately and start on construction after that.
It's about a year.
And the build out's easily a year for 9 homes.
How long?
Build out's easily up for 9 homes in a year.
About a year for a build out for 9 homes. Okay. Okay. Again, I highly encourage you to set the issue. It's a big issue. To me, there was 2 big issues: septic and water. Anything that would affect the residents around. We want these subdivisions and developments to add value and not negatively affect anybody. We want a positive win-win for Weddington and for the residents around each development, whether it be yours or anybody's, and not do anything that would affect them. And so that's
I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah, and that's our big concern here. I see us all as a big family here, and we're here to take care of each other, and so that's what we're trying to do. So, anything else, you guys? Anything to add or any questions? Thank you guys so much, and we'll
Thank you.
questions, comment time. So hang loose for some questions, I guess.
We also have what we call our Classic book. We've got probably a dozen of them. It's about that thick. It has every single one of our home plans and elevations that anybody might have.
Okay, great.
We'll just put them right here for you.
Okay, cool. Comments, questions, guys? I'm sure there's some. Melissa?
I didn't prepare anything, but I'm just kind of taking notes as what they're saying. Chad and I have been fighting for transparency and trust in this process. And We've got public comments at planning board meeting now. We've got this new presentation meeting. We appreciate that. We knew Empire was gonna be here tonight. We were prepared to ask questions ahead of time. You gave people enough notice to get here to ask questions, but you've not given that to the neighbors of, Classica over here at this development, and you've not given that for the Keystone either. So having this just pop up on the agenda does not give the public the amount of notice that they need. I've been researching septic for a while now based on Toll Brothers proposing a wastewater treatment plant up against our neighborhood in Air Plantation. And because of that, I've got a lot of input and feedback that I could give off of what they presented tonight, but we talked to Brian with Classica after the meeting, their community meeting the other night, and he said that, that there's a high water table there. It's not conducive for conventional septic. They're using these engineered systems. So they're up here telling you tonight that all the lots perk. They told us that there's a high water table and that it's not conducive for conventional septic. So that's one of the things they said to us. I have some people from Wellington Woods that are not able to be here, and they wanted me to tell you that it floods really bad back there, and they would, they're having ongoing flooding issues back there. So that creek is more than a creek, it's just a problem, and it stays wet back there all the time. As far as alternative septic solutions, we're very much aware of them and how they operate. Could you tell us how long you've been in business?
2005.
How long have you been selling these systems?
2005.
So you've been selling Clearstream systems since then?
I started out selling AquaSafe, and then we switched to Clearstream.
When did you switch to do that?
2015.
Okay. So very recently, basically. How many neighborhoods have you done?
10 years.
Well, not for a very long time. So how many neighborhoods have you done? Entire neighborhoods with the Classica, Clearstream system?
We put in over 300 systems.
I know you've done Lennar. I know you've done the one over in South Carolina.
Right. We do Eastwood, Lennar, Classica, DR Horton, Ryan Homes, Mungo Homes. We do all of them.
Okay. So we talked to the people over at Lennar, and we talked to the ones in South Carolina, and the people that we talked to Mecklenburg, and Mint Hill that did the permitting. Mint Hill had no idea that this type of system, a neighborhood had come in until I told them over the phone. So they went ahead and approved septic, and they had no idea it was engineered systems until I called them on the phone. So I called Mecklenburg and I talked to them, and that's where they told me about Virginia, them having to stop using the systems for a while. I'm not sure the exact details on that. I'm trying to get more information. But there's problems over in Lennar. We talked to a guy there that is the, I'm not going to give you all the details on that, but he's been there from the beginning, and he said about 80% of those units had problems going in. Constant calls. So they can say what they're saying, but we've done a lot of research, and we've talked to South Carolina as well, and they've also had some problems over there. So we don't want these systems in Weddington if they're going to cause us a lot of problems and headaches, and these people have to be on a maintenance contract. North Carolina wastewater rule says they have to come out twice a year for maintenance, this company. And the health department has to come out once a year to do an inspection. They have to do effluent sampling. It's not $300. I didn't think I was being timed. Am I being timed?
We are.
Okay. So they have to do the effluent sampling, and over in Lennar, they told those people after the 2-year warranty, you stay with us, and it's going to be $700 for the year. So I've got a lot more to say. I'm really disappointed that we weren't given a heads up on this, and that the neighbors of Wellington Woods were not given the opportunity. They've asked me to ask you to table this and do it another time when everybody could come in. Thank you.
Thank you. No, There will be another time, also, comment time for the planning board too, and again, for the council at the end, through that process. So just utilize that. Larry?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to.
Come up so we
Yes,
can
sir.
sort of get you on, Mike.
I forgot to say one thing too, that's important.
Wait a minute.
So there's enough people right now that could do a class action lawsuit, seriously. And I found that out through Mecklenburg.
You're talking about
Talking.
the Hill project?
Mhm.
I don't know anything about
I don't know if that's coming, I don't know, so.
So I think there was some misunderstanding. So one of the lots did have a high water table that we had to move the system up to a offsite area in the community, and I don't remember exactly where it's at. I think it's up on lot 1 up in there. So yes, lot 4 had a high water table in one spot that had to be moved, so that was not conducive to that area. But the site overall has enough room for 9 homes with 5-bedroom homes with the pools.
And I think you mentioned it to us, you're pumping it around to that lot.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Just to clarify.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, should we move on? Okay, thank you guys so much for coming, I really appreciate your time, thank you. Keystop, if you guys come up.
I'll have one next time.
All right, well, good evening, and appreciate everybody's patience, and there's been some great presentations. I guess we can kick it off with saying that we are not using that septic system. So y'all can breathe a sigh of relief, another homeowner with a septic, dialogue, so kick it off from there. So, my name is Colin Brock. I am the managing principal at V3. Managing principal of V3. We're a civil engineering landscape architecture firm here in Charlotte. And we've got Mark Thompson as well, a project manager. And we've got from Keystone Homes, we have Keith Finn. We're very excited to present our project on Deal Road. So this is located, the property is just north of Weddington Middle School, a little contextual location. This is a 17.3 acre site. We are proposing 12 lots. Pretty simple design, a road, public road straight down the middle. And it's a R40 zoning, and we are looking at meeting all the open space requirements, tree state requirements. And there's no natural resources, no streams, any of that nature on the site. So a very clean site. Also perks, we've had perk tests already completed, so pretty good there.
Pretty flat.
Yes, yeah. So pretty straightforward. Again, 40,000 foot minimum lots, square foot minimum lots. And along the frontage of Deal Road, 50-foot buffer with supplemental evergreen as needed, as we'll work with locals to get everything squared away and make sure there's a good dense buffer. And then we have all our other buffers around the site for code requirements.
Speaking of buffers, like I said to the other guys, I still hold true with that 100-foot buffer. So I know you guys are going with a minimum 50. I'm going to say, hey, I'd like to have a 100-foot buffer with, same thing I said to the other guys, I just back up the record here. A nice entrance, landscaping package, present itself well from the residents driving by. And it's not only, the 50 feet, I think it just needs to, have the view shed, that's what I'm trying to say, in the development, to pull those houses back a little bit.
On the contrary, I will offer that when the tree expert came and spoke to us, he said that the larger buffer you leave on the front of the neighborhood allows for a larger habitat of animals that end up dead in the road. So opposite of his opinion, I'm cool with 50.
Well, I think it's also, precedent around, there's, neighboring, I think it's 6,000 Deal Road's got 50 foot, 6505's got about a 15 foot, 6513 Deal Road's got minimal to no. So I think contextually, we're trying to look at what's there, which is a pretty good tree canopy, and then we'll supplement that, you know, to really create a really strong screen, which, you know, we can look at with maintaining the vegetation and root, you know, zones.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you start to go to the next image, please.
Yeah,
Was there another slide?
Yeah.
So I wasn't even in town, and my phone was blowing up when the community went, because the surrounding neighborhoods, all the kids walk through this property, I guess, to get home. So would you consider doing some sort of something to help those kids walk home? Like, I don't know what could be done, a path or something, but just know people that live in surrounding communities were all up in arms about that part of it. So, and then, you know, to your point, no one wants dead animals in the road, so maybe there could be tree buffers that are not on the main road, like maybe that could be I haven't seen this plan, so I don't know where else that could be contiguous, but I think most of us want to save as many trees as possible, to give habitat to animals, and for kids to be able to safely get home if they have to walk, and that's their transportation.
If 100, as far as I know, 100 feet is wider than 50 feet, last I checked, and so that's more animal habitat area. So I would think, you know, if you're looking for that, I would say 100 feet is better than 50. So anyway, just going back to, you know, the 100 guy, you know, that would be, you know, preference. But go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
That's it. Yeah, I just want to speak to that because this image we created specifically to show the screening and the possibilities of what that's going to look like. So you'll see the two pictures on the side. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a gentleman standing at the 50-foot mark, which you can barely see. So it's already got dense screening naturally. We're still going to supplement that on top of that. So for all practical purposes, you're not going to see the home. And what we wanted to do was we're using the UDO option. So we saw that there's an option for the 50-foot. We want to take advantage of that with supplementing. And I asked these guys, I said, put as much as you can stick in terms of evergreens, because I want to make sure that we have that screening. To your point, we want to respect the fact that we don't want that visibility of those homes. But much to Colin's reference, the homes to the side and to the front, you can see those homes. Some of them don't have screening at all. So we will definitely stand out from that perspective. Again, I just wanted to point that out, that we are trying to meet the objective of screening.
I know your interest there, some of the neighbors had concerns about, they refer to it as like pollution, because, you know, having the entrance there right across from their, you know, their entrances to their homes. Have you given that any thought? Do you remember that conversation when we were out there? I would say just keep that in mind. I know there was concern about that, you know, with some of the neighbors. Your entrance butted up or right across the street from their entrance, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, again, we haven't defined exactly where that is. Right now, this is a sketch plan. We're at the preliminary stages. We still have to run this by DOT, and ultimately they're going to tell us where we can and cannot put it. But we did do a standing test in terms of the reference point, and we were actually offset. So there wouldn't be a direct impact. I know that the homeowner there was concerned with lighting.
Right.
We're not going to have lighting towards that house or across the street for that matter.
Okay. And again, going back to what we've been beating the horse here tonight, it's perked for conventional, not engineer or anything.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. We hired a soil scientist to go out there and do test pits throughout the entire project using the site plan and the specific lots so that there's a direct correlation with where can it perk, where can it not perk. And everything came in very positive. So we anticipate putting traditional systems.
Okay. Yep. Can you tell me something about your home, the quality of building, your price points, your size?
Not a problem. I think the next slide should have some of our elevations. So we are a luxury custom home builder. We do not, and this is very important for everyone to know, we do not build spec homes. So we don't build a house and then sell it. We have the client choose the lot. We have them choose from a selection of homes, and we will not repeat the homes within the subdivision. And then they select up to 8,000 different choices that they can do from external to internal. It's fully customizable. So this is strictly just an example of a home. So you can see a combination of siding and stone. We also have full stone. This one has different types of siding, that board, and then you've got the stone as well. Again, it's very customer driven. And for the price point that we're going to be at, which is probably about 1.5 to 2 million, most clients will be selecting probably the higher end products, is my guess.
And then when we were out there, we particularly saw this home here. And everybody sort of liked this one.
Yeah.
And what's the ratio of brick, stone to siding, number of homes?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you.
I know the town is, our preference would be more brick, stone as opposed to a bunch of siding homes, or
Agreed.
predominantly siding.
Agreed.
So just note that.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions, any thoughts, Jeff, Brandon, Darcy? You good?
No, not right now. Oh, just I do like, the walkable stuff, like if there's any.
So I actually met with the principal, and we talked about the use of the land. It turns out they have been using that for years, without permission, I might say. In fact, the owners, it's a bunch of family members. I don't think they've been on the land, to be honest with you, because I'm like, did you know that there's a path? And they're like, no, didn't know that. So someone went in there and actually cleared trees to make that path. So that's a little sketchy.
It's disappointing to you guys.
Yeah.
Well, they were all calling me.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, I've been in contact with the principal, and he's like, I knew this thing was coming. I knew it was coming. So they anticipated it. And just for safety purposes, we did put some no trespassing signs because we're gonna have contractors out there. We just don't want anyone getting injured.
So I know we're
So the answer is no to those people.
I don't know how to solve that, to be honest with you, in terms of the walkability. I will say, since it is a middle school, I mean, how long are they in middle school, right? So I mean, it might be a couple of years of inconvenience unless the house
Well,
is.
they're
turned
all
over.
kind of tied together. I mean, I don't know the details of each town, but you can walk from any of those high school, middle school, so you're there.
I think ultimately it's gonna be someone's backyard. So.
I know a lot of the residents were talking out there too, that the high schoolers come over and park down through the streets and whatnot. I would anticipate that you're gonna have sort of a situation with that as well.
Yeah. So our streets will be swales. They will not be curb and gutter. It's not gonna be conducive for parking as far as for vehicles that shouldn't be there.
Conducive for parking in Weddington is probably different than what you're used to seeing.
Oh, driving the parking lot. Yeah. So.
I don't know if I have any questions, I think I'm good. How about you guys? Good? Okay. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. Appreciate
Questions and hang loose for some
Sure.
questions with you guys too. Do you guys have any questions, comments?
I
You
know
think we-
that somebody lost a set of keys. Did anybody who has gone up there grab a set of keys by any chance?
Is Nancy still in here? Nancy Pratt?
I think she's left.
Oh,
She's
Are they behind the books or anything?
They were right on top of one.
Maybe.
So I didn't see your hand.
I had seen it.
Chad, would you come on up? Yeah, okay.
I was just gonna say, I think it looks like a good product. My only thing would be advocating for the 100-foot buffer, like as we're seeing of a lot of the developers bringing in for a 100-foot buffer, even Enclave of Baxley up there has over a 100-foot buffer. So just as you drive through Weddington, for, some of the older homes don't have it that are directly on the road, but the established neighborhoods, it's usually, if you have a pretty significant impact that you really have to try to find out to go by. That's it.
Thank you, Chad. Melissa?
Hello. So what type of siding is it? Hardy plank or hardy board or?
Any of the siding that you see that is not stone or brick would be hardy plank, 5%.
Okay. So we talked a lot about septic tonight. Could you tell us kind of the process of how you guys perk test the lots and what your process was for determining that each lot perks?
Sure.
And we'll try to keep it.
It was standard testing. We had it about, still in the middle of reading that report from the geotech or scientists. It was just a typical test beds.
You guys go in there and bore to
There was some
determine
more,
there?
yeah.
I guess that's it. And you're doing conventional septic?
Conventional, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay. Anybody else? Oh,
I
okay.
just find it a bit disappointing. I have to.
Can you speak so we can all hear?
Sure.
Thank you.
State your name, please.
As I look around the
You
room,
need to state your name, please.
Debbie Moffett. That's Moffat. It's frustrating to see the majority of people attending were the people presenting with possible new developments. And I just have to echo what Melissa said, that I wasn't expecting to have presentations. I'm not opposed to that. It's just the attendance is disappointing. And I do think it's really unfair to not have potential development and those neighbors surrounding those potential developments not having the lead time, because we are all busy with our lives. And we have to make the time to be here. So it feels a bit, makes one wonder. So I just want to echo that. It's disappointing.
I started to wonder about what?
Why there was no more notification. Had I not come tonight, I wouldn't have known. And then that can also
Well,
start.
hopefully we can answer why, there wasn't that notification. And hopefully that will help dispel, any untoward concerns.
Well, that's how
about the
kind of
issue.
rumors start though, and maybe false or misinformation. So just a little more transparency and clarity and warning, because we're all busy. So it takes time to make time to be here.
How did the agenda item get on there that we knew about the one, but we didn't know about the three? How did that process come to be?
Can we discuss this at the council comments?
Yes, that's what I was trying to do.
Okay.
But it's made a really long evening, and I still have to go home and go back to work. So, I mean, it's just,
That wasn't our intentions.
Let's discuss it at council comments so we can keep moving. Or not, council comments, and that way we'll just keep moving.
Okay, I'll comment on that. So is there any more questions or comments for these guys before we move on? Okay, no? Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Okay. Item 10, the consent agenda. The approval of the 2008, July 8th, 2024 minutes, and the authorization from the signed CRPPO memorandum of understanding. So do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So,
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, unanimous. Okay, the consent agenda is passed. We move on to the old business. the old business, discussing the park. There's a couple things I think we need to clarify on this and just straighten out. I think one thing, in talking to Greg, I didn't realize to the extent, I guess our purpose and intent is in the park is to use grant money. Definitely don't want to do, going into tax money and doing all this. We talked about that numerous times, and we covered the grant and all that we've got. So we had talked about doing it in stages if we have to. So in my mind was, okay, if things weren't on here, then we'll just come and do it next time. But in talking with Greg, I'm of the understanding that we sort of need to have it laid out. Whether we do it in this stage or next stage or 5 stages down the road, we sort of need to have a game plan and go ahead and have it approved for that instead of having to come back and do revisions and that kind of thing. And I think you guys as council would agree. Just go ahead and make a game plan. One of the things I feel that was left out was a playground area for kids. I've done a lot of research and I've talked with the Parks and Recreation Director for Matthews, Pineville, and today in Stallings. Young lady in Stallings was great, had a lot of information, and her recommendation was you definitely need something for kids. She suggested that something 2 to 12 would work great. If you don't have a lot of room over there, so long as they have like 4 different ones and they can divide it up. She suggested to maybe 2 to 12. She said if you don't do that, she said that brings the majority of people to the park. Otherwise, nobody would come. Parents bring their kids, they've got to get out of the house for whatever reason, been stuck in the house. So the suggestion among the different ones I've talked to is you definitely need something for kids. And so, I asked a question, I said, is there a lot of liability, accidents, do, things happen? And she's like, no, we've been good with all of this. They don't have issues with liability, children get hurt. Not to say it never happens, I would never say that. But the comment was made, she made the comment that if you're doing a concert or you have something going on at the pavilion there, then kids, if they're not interested in it, they can go up and play in the playground or just sort of get away from the parents. It's a good way to spread the kids out. And the suggestion was with the different ones I talked to that you definitely need something for children as opposed to not doing anything and just having an empty field. So I'm just sort of throwing that out in a nutshell without going more time into it, that we need to have something.
So in your packets is a draft of the request for proposals, and I've listed in there the things that we need on the plan. So that's what I need confirmed, and then I'll work out backwards from a timeline and get it to you. I would like to get it to you by the September council meeting.
Right. Are you guys okay with maybe something for 2 to 12-year-old children?
Well, and let me say, I appreciate, Mayor, the work you did talking to those folks. For those of y'all that got here a little early today and had a chance to hear the information you provided, and those were some great comments. I also want to thank staff for working on this RFP. I know the idea of us having this park area usable behind us has been around for quite some time, and hopefully we're finally getting to the point where we're getting some traction. We're going to see some things done. From my point of view, the RFP looks good, including putting the playground area in there, and I'll touch on that in just a second. But just trying to be brief with it. As I've stated before to some of you individually and here in public, my thoughts on the park itself is we need to make it as low maintenance as efficient and, as flexible in uses as possible. As far as the playground, yes, initially when we were talking about this, I really wasn't in favor of it, for the following reasons. Number one, anything that we're gonna put out there is gonna require some type of, and I think I've already got the liability question answered, that, but I'm still wanting to maybe see a little more details on that. I don't want to open the town up to liability if there's some kind of accident. Obviously, the more complex and the more involved that this playground is, it's going to be a cost up front, and then it's going to be a cost to maintain it. And I've sat up here enough that I've heard folks very concerned about how we spend money. We're going to add staff, and how much more money is this going to cost us? Personally, I'm more than willing to pay a little more in taxes to have a playground. But I just think the public, we need to make sure the public knows that if we add that, what those costs are going to be. Because it will be in addition to what we had kind of discussed before. So like I said, I'm all in favor of playgrounds. My kids were young, we're going to use them, but we just need to make sure that the town knows, that the taxpayers know, that the maintenance, the expense of running day to day, making sure it's cleaned and et cetera, is taken care of. And as I said, and I'll just finish up real quick, that I want to just see it efficient. I want to see it flexible as possible for multiple uses, and something that we can, if we need to do it in phases, that's fine. And then my little pet project for it would be to make sure that we've got plenty of water and power stubs located in a strategic point. So whether we're having a food truck day or some type of festival out there or something at the little amphitheater, that those items are there. We're not running hoses and cords, all over where people are walking and things like that. And well, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think too, going back to what you're saying about the maintenance issues, I asked those guys, I said, you guys have a lot of graffiti. Do you have any graffiti problem? Kids coming in tearing stuff up. They said, no, we don't. Yes, there are some things, just like with anything. And I said, what about the ground around the playground? They said, we go the cheapest route. This is Stallings, which is putting the mulch down, which works great. And they highly suggest that. They just have some mulch guys come in and throw some mulch out. As opposed to the spongy stuff, which is nice, but they said that gets very expensive. And I doubt we can get that. So no, I agree with keeping the maintenance down. And I think this is the first step of trying to realize what would those costs be? What does this look like? We don't know at this point until we sort of throw something out there to see what it is. So nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's just see what it is. And if it becomes stupid, then we won't do it.
If I may, I met with the Parks and Rec director. It's me. It's me. From Waxhaw, and she gave me a tour of their new the downtown park, which it's phenomenal. They've got way more than we would ever have, but it is the playground is inclusive and it's got special fenced area. It's just so I highly recommend, and the ground underneath it. If you want to go look at something, I really recommend going down there. It is off of, I can't remember the name of that street, but if you go, you know where the skate park is?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go straight down that road, it curves around
Oh,
and it's,
just where the old one used to be, they redid it?
I don't know where the old one used to be. No, it's not where the old one used to be.
Okay. Oh,
So
great.
it's
I'll
just,
drive around.
it is beautiful. So down by the skate park, that
Uh-huh.
Church Street, I think, and then it curves around, starts with a G. I'm just gonna write it down. But it is just beautiful. So I recommend that.
Okay.
Just if you want to go on a field trip.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was up here a several months ago, but for meeting the mayor one evening, and I had a knock on the door there. And I went to the door, and this very nice elderly lady said, "Mr. Mayor." I said, "Yeah." She said, "Can I ask you a question?" She said, I didn't know what door to go to, but can I ask you a question? I said, "Sure, come on in." She said, "Have you guys ever thought about doing a park?" I said, "Come on in, let's talk." And I said, what's your concerns?" And she said, I'd like to have some place for my grandkids, just locally, instead of having to drive distances, I want to stay here in town. And she said, I'd love to have something for, playing around the park for the grandkids. So I've had several folks say the same thing to me, and that's why I come back around for the playground area, because that is the draw. And I hate to do something where people are not going to use it. And so everybody has said those are the draws to get people to come to be a part of the park, with a concert or whatever the kids can play. So that's why I'm sort of let's determine it now and go forward with it.
So if you all agree with what I've bulleted in there, I'll move forward and finish that up with the timeline.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'll echo what Jeff says. I am completely in agreement with everything that he said. I do not see a way forward that it is not going to cost us dollars outside of grant money. I'm not going to say that I'm a playground expert. I have 3 playground-age children right now, and I'm the board chair of the preschool at the church across the street. So we run the playground show relative to that church and the Bonds Grove Church. And mulch is cheaper than the rubber stuff. Mulch is not cheap.
Yeah.
So I just echo what Jeff said. I don't see that there is a way to move forward without money coming from the town of Weddington outside of grant money. And that is okay with me personally. I am not making a personal decision sitting in this seat. And I just want to offer that is what I have to say
Did
about
the
that.
town vote on this? Did I miss, does this have to go out for a vote?
This is not.
Yeah.
We'll cover that during comment time.
Sorry.
That's no problem.
I'm just wondering if I missed something.
Yeah. So no, I know the folks at different parks that said, unless they would not suggest, they would suggest not doing the park if you're not going to do that. That's the big point. So, but I hear what you're saying. I totally get what you too. Another, I asked several questions, and I just want to mention this too. You had mentioned in the thing, and so I go back to the thing. I'd say 2 to 12-year-olds.
Okay, I'll add that.
And they can mix different things in. And she shared the company they use, which she said gives them a great deal installing. Said they did Waxhaw, Gastonia, you already have this stuff.
So if the time is appropriate now, I can make a motion to.
Yeah, could I cover just a couple?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, I thought that was it. Yep.
Definitely get to that. You had mentioned gender non-specific.
Yeah, but I guess what they refer to as family bathrooms. So it's a one staller, if you will, for.
Okay. I mentioned it to them, and they said they're not going to experiment with that.
That phrase leaves a lot, it brings back echoes of the memories of the HB5 or whatever it was in Charlotte. That's not. It's just a bathroom.
Right.
Like the porta potties that we get.
Could we not have a men's and a women if we have to do a family bathroom or restroom or whatever or something? I'd rather keep them separate. I wouldn't want to go, excuses for something happening with someone walking in on somebody else. You know what I'm trying to say here? Nice.
Yeah, I gotcha. It can happen, and even if the bathrooms are specific, but I gotcha.
Yeah, I'd rather keep them separate in some kind of way. Now, Stallings did say the only thing we miss, meaning them, is they would love to have some, a family restroom for, a mom picking the kids up and the kids are old enough or whatever to go in one or the other.
And
so that's their thing.
And Waxhaw also includes the family restroom that has facilities for adult handicap, like who cannot do it themselves. So you've got enough space in there for 2 adults.
Right. So
okay, yeah, I'll take that out. That's fine.
Women and whatever there. They did say they made one mistake. I know we had talked about, and I didn't see it in your notes. We talked about picnic tables. We had talked about a covered area for those picnic tables.
Okay, I don't recall that, but okay.
Yeah, they have theirs connected to theirs. They said big mistake. And the reason is they rent those out, and we can rent ours out too. They rent them out to groups or families or whatever, birthday parties. Well, the restroom is connected to them. So now anybody's going to a restroom, walks right through the birthday party, whatever, just these strangers coming right through. They said, don't do that. We made a mistake.
Gotcha.
Tying them together.
Separate.
Yeah, they need
The
they said
standalone restrooms.
you need to be standalone. And I would say too, the parking, make sure we have enough handicap parking, and we talked about putting the slots up the street there.
Right.
So
And we're getting into space too, so that's why I limited it to those, to
Yeah.
two, because we wanted to have space for the food truck pads
Right.
too. So I was, and I
Right.
don't know,
No,
two,
and
for
I
3
think-
acres, two, I thought two would be good, but I didn't dive deep into the ordinance to see
Right.
what was required.
And two other items, let me finish, but you had mentioned the amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
You had suggested 50 by 28. Even Matthews said that there need to be another additional, say 5 to 10 feet of stage depth, because they realized they made a mistake at that 27 feet deep. So they suggested, I think I sent this to you guys.
You did, and that's why I'll include that, but I meant the back of house stuff, but again, the amphitheater in Waxhaw, they have a building behind it that has all the electrical in it so that they can plug in, and it was phenomenal. Their stage, I don't think, is as big as what we want, but
Yeah, and Stallings did say that their stage was a big mistake. They said it's not deep enough, it's not wide enough, so they've had numerous equipment they want not to get ruined. If it rains and it just floods everything in there, they said, don't do what we did. And so that's just a side note. So with adding, check out the depth here with what Matthew suggested, adding that 5 to 10 feet to the number that you had put in there. And one last thing, I think going back to what I think Jeff mentioned, is the aesthetics, make sure it ties in with town hall, it just looks good and flows. So we won't know what things are gonna cost until we check it out, and if it's too crazy, stupid stuff.
I figure if we start with a plan, we can
We
break
can go
out
through, we
there.
can whittle up, whittle down,
Right.
whatever, at least we have a starting point, it's a start, jump off point. I mentioned to Jeff, I asked them, they have installing 9.5 acres. I said, what did it cost you guys to build that? They said they built it with federal, state funds, grants, and they did it in stages. And the first stage was $1 million. They said, all we got in that whole 9.5 acres, if you've been over there, it's a nice park, it's $4 million. That came from grants.
So the Parks and Rec Trust Fund grant, it opens up, I think, in February, and it's awarded in May. So, if I can get that to match the 250 that we got in the budget, that's an extra 250.
We can keep adding to it.
Right.
Million we have, what we got. So, okay. Any comments, Darcy?
So my only comment is, as a parent, the family is super helpful. As a woman, I've never had issues with it not being gender specific. I understand, like Uptown Charlotte, when they were doing all the come in with the 8 stalls and you can be a man or a woman, that was awful. But it's like the Target family bathroom, like and when you have little ones, it's important because sometimes dad has to take the daughter and the mom has to take the son, and it gets who goes where, and he's gonna pee on the seat, and who wins it up. As long as they're single, you know,
Okay.
Okay. So are we good? We sort of, have some ideas where we want to go. Okay. Do I have a motion?
A motion to move forward with the town park draft RFP.
With the revisions that we talked about tonight.
The changes.
Including tonight's comments and revisions.
Thank you.
Okay. What I tried to say.
All
Thank you. It's almost 9 o'clock. Okay, all in favor? That's unanimous. Okay. So we're good with that?
Okay.
We'll move forward. Getting this thing knocked out. New business, there is no new business. Code enforcement report. Who wants to start with that?
The code enforcement report's in your packet. We are working on 2 specific issues with our code enforcement officer and our attorney. If you have any questions.
Okay. All right.
Anything to add?
Okay. Update. Is there any more to, that's all we'll add to that? Update on finance, for finance officer.
You have in your packets the monthly financial statements for July. It is the first month of the fiscal year, so there's not a whole lot to be said at this point in time. Kim received the tax file from the county. We are loading it into our system. Hopefully the bills will go out within the next couple weeks. And then things will start taking off. Any questions?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Transportation report, in lieu of time, I don't have anything.
Updates from the town planner and the town administrator?
Pardon me?
Updates from the town planner and the town
Oh, I
administrator?
guess we're gonna skip through it. Sorry. Trying to get to the bottom of this thing.
I get it.
Okay. You guys?
You go ahead, Greg.
Mayor, members of council, I think we did a pretty thorough job today talking about subdivisions that are in the pipeline at the moment through our public comment and presentation. Thank you for your patience in that process, as that's brand new and that was just codified a month ago. These are updates on some of the subdivisions that are still pending and will go before you in the next couple of months. They're in various stages of review. For example, Ray and Providence was brought before the planning board in June, and that item was tabled, seeking more information specifically about the sewer system and its easement connection to provide that infrastructure. So that's an example of where sewer or septic is not necessarily the purview of the town of Weddington, but is still an important consideration when determining whether to recommend a subdivision to move forward. So that is currently tabled, and that does not have an estimated date on when that would go back to the planning board. We're still awaiting that information. Deal Lake, that has had several community meetings in May and in July. I would state that that is to be determined for a planning board meeting. I know there's optimism by the applicant to try to do that this month, but at this time they've presented revisions to staff and elected leaders for feedback, but they have not formally submitted kind of a final, we're ready to go type of site plan. So I cannot confirm that that's going to be at the meeting here at the end of August. As soon as we do have that, I'll be sharing that with all of you and members of the public so that there's adequate time to know to attend that meeting. And again, planning boards do have public comment. And so when we have that agenda finalized, we'll notify the public and they'll have the opportunity to speak on that item. Others we heard about tonight, the Forest Lawn Drive, the Keystone property, and on Providence Road, the Empire property. Those were meetings held today. The other two I would note is the Polifka property, which is zoned MX. It's an office building, proposing two more. There was a recent community meeting, a second community meeting earlier this month regarding that layout. And so considerations were parking, architecture, other things. Keep that in mind. They've had two meetings thus far, but no final submittal. And then lastly, 7112 Newtown Road. That's the proposed worship facility at that location. They also had two community meetings. We need a third one. That has no future date for the planning board.
Okay.
We're good? Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I've got one more.
Okay.
Sorry. The, all expenditures for all phases of construction for the Tilly Morris Roundabout ended in March. And NCDOT anticipates returning $81,750 to the town of Weddington.
Yeah, that's good.
So we gave them $208,058. So we should see that before the end of the year. I know, right? So I thought that might make you happy. The Antioch and Forest Lawn traffic signal, the project has been approved. The town staff and NCDOT have signed the agreement, and barring any major obstacles, the installation will start in the early fall and be completed before the end of the year. And they're also going to look at remarking the pavement if it's needed.
Okay, so September, October, maybe?
It's NCDOT.
See, I talked to them a week or so ago, and they said, oh, December, we'll get around to it, and then January, February. But I like what you said.
Well, that was the last notice I got. So I reached out about the Potter and Forest Lawn Roundabout, and they're waiting for Duke Power to finish up their utility markups, and then they can finalize the right-of-way. And the construction is looking to be 2026 for that.
Okay.
So, two more things. Last month, our finance officer, Leslie Gaylord, passed the 24-year mark working for the town of Weddington. And happy birthday to Greg.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
We good with everything now?
That's it.
Okay.
What you?
All right, now I'm scooting by transportation report and council comments. Who wants to go first? Anybody?
You want to address the.
Yeah, I can go ahead with that. No, Debbie, I apologize for that, and I totally get where you're coming from. It wasn't our intention, and I don't know how that happened. We will do better. My intention is to, that's why we passed this to get this night for this kind of thing, is to get the community involved and get the community to come out and be a part of this. And so, we failed on that. So,
The optics look bad.
yeah, oh, I know, I totally.
And the community's not here.
Yeah, so I think, the big thing is rally the troops, get them out for the planning board, because we'll do the same thing before the planning board. And so those guys, it might even do better for the planning board, because those guys are sitting up here, and if you can, throw out detailed information about sewer and lot size and whatever, I think that would be as impactful, if not more, for those guys in the planning board. But no, I don't disagree with what you said at all. We'll do better if we have to do something that says, these have to be, the agenda has to be set by a certain time, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that kind of thing. We'll get this worked out. So,
Why was it not presented under new business, even on the agenda?
Since it's not under consideration, if I may, since
Yes.
it's not a consideration, it's just a project presentation. They haven't even submitted to the planning board yet, or a full application. So it's just a project presentation to give everybody an idea of what
I
it
just feel
is.
like I've been sideswiped. I just do. I happen to have a lot on my plate right now. I know that's personal, but we all have a lot on our plates. So to take the time to come out and then surprise, it's been a hell of a year of surprises.
no, like I said, we'll work out the kinks. This was the first time we were doing this. We just passed this last month. It got approved, so that's really not an excuse, but we'll get it worked out. So I hear you totally.
So did they just think they were coming and we didn't? Is that, because
They were
we all
asked,
just found out
they
about
were-
this hours before. Like,
they were asked to come and present, and so they said, yeah, sure. And
Who asked
there
you to
was,
come and present like
I
that?
believe at the community meeting. So they were asked to come and present at the council meeting, and that we just miscommunicated. And so they knew, they thought they were
They
coming.
thought they said yes.
They did say
definitively,
yes, and
we didn't know
and
that.
staff missed it.
Yeah, because I asked Greg, 2 weeks ago, I said, is anybody coming to present? He said, no, I haven't heard of anybody. Nobody has reached out to us. So I think I told someone that, I was like, easy night, nobody's gonna be here.
You told me that,
Yeah.
and I was expecting the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, then I saw, then we saw on the thing that Keystone. I'm like, okay, it's just Keystone. And so, again, it was one of these fall through the cracks, misunderstanding, and so that's how it went.
This was a lot tonight, a lot of three presentations.
Yeah, and it was.
With the part, which I feel like that should have been given more time,
That's not over. That was just to get, so I can get the RFP written, so we'll be
Okay.
fine.
Well, it just was a lot, so.
So if we could,
I don't think that should be added last second to where whole neighborhoods that I'm now aware of, because they're sitting here texting me, watching it live, they weren't afforded that opportunity to be here.
Well, they can still go to the planning board, they can still come back.
Right, right, and so anyway, but I appreciate everybody's comments, so we'll get it knocked down better. And
And
so,
on that note, I want to thank you all for your time, because I know nobody wants to be here this long. But I appreciate your all's time also.
well, thank you so much, I appreciate it. And I thank you guys for being here till 9:00, so thank you so much for this. So, there's no more questions or comments from us, we're gonna move into.
I'd like to just mention a couple of things.
Okay.
Number one, thank you for all people that come out and have come out. I know some folks have had to leave. It has been a long night. It's been a very full agenda. Sometimes that just happens. There's a lot of stuff we've got to go over, and this is one time a month that everybody's sitting up here and the staff and everybody that we're all supposed to plan and be here to take care of business. With that said, as far as the septic discussions that occurred tonight, first off, there are some very, very valid questions about new technology, okay? This is something new for the community. It's certainly something new for me. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I've got all kinds of information on it. And I certainly learned a lot tonight. I've got some names of some people I plan on calling and asking questions to. And I would just hope that we all take the time to look at all the data, and then we can all make sure we're coming to a valid opinion, whichever way that may fall. And I'm certain that some opinions have already been made, and that's fine. But for me, I certainly want to get some more information and understand this new type of technology and what it is. Secondly, as a sitting council member, I will apologize to you, Ms. Moffitt, and anybody else that was offended or in some way felt that something nefarious was going on because we added these two presentations tonight. But what I will say is that this bunch of folks sitting here over the last 6 months have added 2 more public involvement, public comment times. So right now, there are a total of 4, where if somebody's got a question, they've got 4 opportunities to stand at that podium and let us know what you're concerned about. So please remember that. There's the initial meeting, initial community meeting, this new meeting that we just added, we have right now, which is only a month old. And yes, we gotta get the kinks worked out about making sure they notify us that, yes, they said they're gonna be here, and we're gonna hear it. Then you've got the public comments at the planning board, which have just been added. And then you're gonna have a 4th chance when it comes up for consideration for a vote. So I don't want anybody watching or listening or sitting in the room thinking that we are not trying to give people an opportunity to express their opinions.
And just
That's
know,
all I got.
and just know too, we're recording this, so it's not just streaming and going away. So tell folks where to go and watch. They can get caught up on it too. Maybe they won't hear to ask questions, but they can at least hear the questions and hear the presentation and be here for the planning board.
Yeah.
And do it, in person next time. Brandon or Darcy, comments for the folks?
No, just thank you all, and thank you to staff and fellow board members who helped get me caught up from being gone last month. And yeah, it was just a lot to cover. So thank you to everyone for being patient, and we appreciate your input.
Yes, likewise. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Leslie for your gift of service to the town of Weddington. It is very much appreciated. And just echo what Jeff said. This is one of 4 opportunities. We are all very busy. Maybe you were busy tonight and you weren't here. There are 3 future opportunities coming should any of those projects even come to fruition to a point where they are actually being considered by the town with a true presentation to the town.
Right. Plus it gives, I guess, hearing what we said tonight, when it goes before the planning board, if they've done any tweaks to it, you guys can, sort of, I'll say hammer on that. So again, let folks who weren't here tonight know on YouTube, if you have a problem finding it, you can reach out to the town and they will tell you how to find it to watch this again. So, but right now we're gonna go into a closed session because there's some more business things that we need to talk about. But again, thank you guys, and so we're gonna break for just a minute for everybody to clear out, and we'll do that. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Motion to go into a closed session. And, motion, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous? We're hitting up.
Okay.
There
is it today?
It's today.
And they're here at work, not at home, having
Oh,
cake and
yeah.
with the kids?
Yeah, I haven't seen my son all day.